Hi everyone! Traditionally, in December of each year, I made a review of my whole coloring book collection and of all my finished works. As I have quite a lot of coloring books, it will be quite a series of videos. I hadn't find any particular order for my books, so I just grabbed from my shelf several of them. And let's start from the book by Kerberos. I have only one of them in my collection, but this Imagimorphia was one of my earliest books, probably the third or maybe the fourth I've ever purchased. This is one of my earliest works. When I didn't have Prismacolors, I only have children pencils like Faber-Castell Eco and Colleen. Background here made with soft pastels. It's fun to see it, to look at my earliest works. They are not very bad, but also not very attractive. I have a bad habit of testing all art supplies and all mediums on the title page of the books, and exactly what I did here. This panda bear was the last addition to this book. I think that I colored it in the end of the last year. And most of all, here I am proud of my gouache paint background and how I added mountains. It was my first attempt to color white fur, and even if Kerberos draw it quite well, I found it a little bit difficult to do shading. Also, I found that my Derwent color softs, which I originally wanted to use here, didn't work on this paper. I tried to color these mountains, blue mountains, with color softs, but it was awful. So the rest of the picture, apart from the background, is colored with Prismacolors and Derwent drawings. This unfinished spread also is one of my earliest works, when I discovered that in my Lom Art edition, paper works quite nice with water-based mediums, and here background is made with watercolors, and for the rest of the picture I think that I used mix of Inktense and Derwent color softs, definitely color softs for all fishes here. I was so tired of coloring those tiny doodles that I hadn't finished the left page. It's a pity, but I don't think that I have enough of patience for it. This spread is quite interesting because everything here, apart from the soft pastel background, I did with Derwent drawings. You know that Derwent drawings have very limited color palette. Everything is very natural, not very bright colors, so it was a challenge to define some mystical animals which we have here, like winged wolf or horse or dragons. The easiest part was to color castle. But I had a lot of fun trying to color everything with those 24 drawing pencils. And from this page I really started to love this set. I don't have any other Kerberos books in my collection, probably because I was a little bit tired of doodles in the beginning, and then I was over Metamorphia because so many people already colored in it, but I definitely plan to purchase his next book. Here I was quite proud when I managed to color white feathers, when I managed to do proper shading, and also I practiced how to color gold, but it's one of my earliest works. The next one is made with a mix of different mediums. I have here soft pastel pink violet background, then watercolor underpaint for the camel and for the pyramids. And for the Asian architecture, I used Derwent drawings again. Probably this Asian architecture, which reminds me about Cambodian Angkor Wat palace, it was what attracted me to this picture. I still love it. It was quite difficult to do camel, but I think that I still like it even if it's 2 years ago work, so not very fresh. Maybe by doing this flip through I will find some inspiration to get back to this book, because here I have so many uncolored pictures. Oh, this Whale's Tale is probably the most popular video on my channel. Again, it's one of my earliest tutorials, and here I used mix of Inktense for the water and for the tail, then very cheap children's pencils for the background, probably Faber-Castell Eco, and Derwent color softs for small details like fishes. I still don't know why this video is the most popular on my channel, but I am grateful for it, that it attracted some viewers to my channel. Again, my very early work, nothing very interesting here. I still learned how to combine colors and how to do shading. For this horse I made black acrylic background and unfortunately white paint from the left page slightly printed to the black background. Maybe I need to cover background with some kind of varnish. Here I struggled with doing shading on the white horse, and I like that in the end it looked quite fantasy with all pale violet, pale pink and blue colors. I think that it's also maybe 2 years, definitely not this year and probably even not the last year, but still I like to look at it and I enjoyed coloring all flowers. You know that I love to color botanical elements. As I said, we will be looking at my books at completely random order. From this Escape series, I have 3 books. I won't be showing you Escape for Christmas part. We will look at it in the end of December because it will be my active book for the whole month. So let's have a look at Shakespeare's. I started to color in it when I didn't have Prismacolors, so my main set was color softs, and fortunately color softs work very well on this paper. I was quite happy how everything started here. Sometimes I even used cheap pencils like Faber-Castell Eco. I used them for this spread. Very early I discovered how well paper behaved with watercolors, and I still like to color in this book with color softs. This is my recent work, which I finished in June of this year probably, when I created for myself months of coloring dragons. So everything is made with color softs, and I also added some touches of pearlescent and metal watercolors for shining on the dragon. Here I tried to do a tutorial how to use a circular stencil. Not the most inspiring picture, but I like this effect when you combine gray-black colors with some bright details, and I still like to use it sometimes. This one also this year work. Background is made with Shiraz Inktense, and I also used Inktense for the water around the ship. For the rest I used Prismacolors mostly. I tried to color it in a style of medieval goblin, but everything is too bright for the medieval goblin probably, but I still like my unicorn. This Venice Landscape I colored completely with watercolors. Only for the fish I added a little bit of pencils. I'm quite proud of it. I tried to create this atmosphere of the dusk in Venice, and I like that I managed to use these unusual colors. If you're looking for a book where to start practicing watercolors, the All Books from Good Wives and Various is a nice choice. This one I finished for this year Halloween. I tested here my granulated watercolors by Van Gogh, and I added those silver spider webs. My favorite part of this book is everything related to Macbeth, and I colored the biggest amount of pictures dedicated to this play. For the last Halloween I did this one, or maybe even 2 years ago. Anyway, the whole spread is dedicated to Halloween, and I enjoyed doing it, especially doing green flame and green witch potion. This castle I also colored with color softs. They cover this paper really nice, they behave nice on the stools of the paper, and I really want to finish all Macbeth pictures. On this Egypt picture I tried to practice how to color bronze and gold, and I even added some Orion constellation to the background, which was so important for Egyptian people. And it was my test page how watercolor behaves on this paper. I still love this series, and I am very happy with the quality of these books, that I don't need to limit myself with mediums I can use. I planned to color Escape to Oz in order, but very quickly I was quite disappointed in this decision. I colored couple of pictures with watercolors as an underpaint, and then doing details with colored pencils, mostly with Prismacolors. For the big pictures its work especially nice. I've managed to color even do double page spreads very quickly, but then I messed up couple of pictures. Something went wrong with the background on the right side, so I stopped to color it in order. And next, this year I did this spread, or I started this spread. I am very happy with the right side, and honestly I don't know why I didn't do the leaves and flowers on the left side. Fortunately I have video to get back to this coloring and to remind myself about which colors I use, so I will be able to finish the left page also. This spread I colored using Daniel Smith granulating watercolors, mostly famous Moonlight color, and I think that it created quite interesting background. I also like to color black crows. It always has a very interesting challenge for me to color black fur or black feathers. This witch I started to color for the tutorial when for Halloween I explained how to color witches, ghosts and other things, so I think that I need to finish this picture. And we will go to the Leila Duly books. If you follow my channel, you probably know that I color in this book for almost 3 years already, so inside we can see some difference between earliest pictures and recently finished. When I just purchased this book, I started to color all pictures with months names, so this was my first ever finished, and I did it with Prismacolors. Sometimes I also used soft pastels for the background, because from the beginning I decided that I want to do it like botanical atlas, so nothing with fantasy colors and trying to color in it realistic. This spread I did with Inktense, and it was probably this January work. I learned a lot while I was coloring in this book. How to do shading on botanical elements, how to show volume of the leaves and transparency of petals, and I still enjoy coloring in it. But maybe at some moment I was a little bit tired that all pictures look the same. A lot of greens, a lot of yellow, blue and pink. Here I started to realize that I am not happy with dark greens in Prismacolor set, especially because of that moment I had only dark green. I have limited set of pencils, and that's when I started to purchase polychromos individually, where greens are very natural looking and beautiful both in light and dark colors. You can see that my first attempts to do dark green leaves with Prismacolors were not very realistically looking. Green was too overbright. Only later I discovered how to do shading with blue pencils to get more realistic greens. But I'm still proud of some of the pictures here, especially these daffodils and primulas. Some pictures I tried to correct and to improve later. This April is one of the recent pictures. I think that I made it during this spring, and everything here is colored with polychromos, so green colors are definitely improved. I have several favorite spreads in this book, and this is one of them because of these bluebells. I love them, and I remember how proud I was when I finished this picture. You can see that I deliberately don't add background. As I said, I want this book to look as a botanical atlas. I only did very soft backgrounds with soft pastels, nothing very fantasy, nothing very unrealistic apart from couple of pictures. As I said, in the end I was a little bit tired that I use green and pink and blue on each spread, so I decided to make a short break from coloring this book, and I think that after a couple of months of such break I am ready to return to it. I'm not completely happy with my poppies. It's quite hard for me to color and especially to shade poppies. Oh, this one was interesting to do. I tried to add some botanical details like in a real book we can see, so I tried to draw some parts of plants. And on this dog rose I discovered how well paper behave with water-based mediums. Everything here is colored with watercolors, and I am proud of my work, especially with the color on the petals. For a long time I was quite afraid to use water-based mediums in this book, and when one of my viewers suggested to use Inktense, first I thought that it's quite a crazy idea, but then very carefully I tried to use them and I was so surprised and so pleased. This is one of the spreads with very dark background, mostly because I wanted these flowers to be very pale and soft, and they definitely look better on the dark background. But I don't like that it doesn't feel in the style of the whole book, so not my favorite spread, even if flowers look not bad here. When I discovered how well water-based mediums behave on this paper, I even started to think about purchasing the second copy and coloring it completely with watercolors. I know that it's not the best idea because I have a huge coloring book collection, So I tried to color remaining pictures in different mediums. I love this picture with chestnut tree because horse chestnut is a symbol tree of my city of Kiev, and we have a lot of these beautiful trees, so that picture was quite important for me. October is one my remaining month picture with month's name, and probably I will color it, but I don't know when. I love winter and fall pictures, fall parts of this book. They are more interesting and more challenging to color. You can use bigger variety of colors. And I also love to color berries. So that's why I enjoyed coloring November. For this fall spread I used Inktense, and it also was quite interesting to combine colors to get this variety of autumn leaves. I am terrible at lettering, so my November isn't very beautiful, and I struggled with coloring these plants, which are not very beautiful by itself, but I still managed to do something from this picture. It was quite challenging, but interesting. This spread I colored when I got my Derwent graphitine set. I tried to use graphitine in different ways, by coloring on the paper and by taking pigment from the pencil core, and that's how I get this bright violet color. The whole December part is amazing. Leila Duly created beautiful pictures for December, and I enjoyed coloring them. I like this picture with wild grape. I enjoyed coloring berries and leaves, and I also tried to do slight shadow under the leaves to show that it's laying on some surface. This small picture is one of my favorites. I remember that I struggled a lot with doing shading on the leaves, and now I'm quite proud how it turned out. And on this spread we can see beautiful variety of various greens available from Polychromos set. I tried to combine warm, natural and gray-green colors to show that each plant has its own green color, and I love this spread. You can see that the book is almost finished. I just need to find inspiration to do several couple of pictures and it will be finished. I also own Floribunda, but I promised for myself that until I will finish Flower Year, I won't touch Floribunda, so it's still waiting its time. And now we are going to the Daria song book. I have only one in my collection. In my opinion, it's the most beautiful one, and it's a pity that Daria stopped to create coloring books. Again, I decided for myself that I will try to color in it in order. I started to color with Prismacolors, and I am still so surprised that I found patience to do the whole spread with pencils. I think that I made it 3 years ago, or maybe 2.5, so it's quite old. I'm not happy with shading here. Picture definitely lack contrast, but at least I tried to do some shading here. It's fun that yellow shape that I created behind the lamp. I would definitely improve shading on the beer. I don't know why I tried to show light from the lamp in such a strange way, and that all package they lack shadow behind of them. But anyway, I am proud of my patience. I also did the next picture, which was quite easy because we have here black background. It was my first successful attempt of doing gold on these wheels, and I still love it. But then I looked at the next picture and I realized that I don't know how to do this background, and I put this book away for almost a year until I got my set of neocolors. And from that time, this book started to be my practice book for doing backgrounds with neocolor crayons. For all the next spreads, neocolors are my key to success here. I saw amazing pictures, amazing backgrounds in this book which people created with pencils only. But it's definitely not for me. I don't have such patience and such skills. Next, I skipped doing it in order because I wanted to try this particular background with neocolors again, and this spread, which is not very interesting by itself with all those tubes, but it really suited my idea of doing this fantasy background. It's a little bit psychedelic, but I enjoyed doing it, and I love color combo of warm orange green, orange yellow colors and cold grays. I love my night voyage and I definitely plan to color it, I hope, in January. And the last for this first part of my review will be books of Dennis Klatt. I own all three of them. Fairies in Dreamland is probably my least favorite, mostly because here we have a lot of empty backgrounds and I am still quite not very sure how to fill them. But I definitely love all pictures with birds. Birds in Dennis Klatt books are so fat and positive, I love all of them. I usually try to use and to combine watercolors for the background here and then to do details with pencils. I used here Prismacolors, I used color softs and even cheaper pencils, and I love quality of paper here. This one I made while I was testing paper directly after I received these beautiful books. Not the best one, but still it was fun to color. I called it Tanning Fairy. Here I tried to do background with Inktense, but I was so disappointed with it, so I stopped to color. Here I tested pencils when I purchased a set of Color Blend watercolor pencils. They provided me with very bright greens, very nice for tropical pictures, and for flowers I used Prismacolors. Mermaids is my most popular book. I did quite a lot pictures here. On all of them I combined watercolors and pencils. It's nice to use watercolors here, very suitable for the theme of the book, to do all the ocean views, to do all the water, very easy and quick way to do backgrounds. I also colored picture here for the last Christmas. I participated in a color along where we had to color something for unconventional Christmas, so I selected this underwater fest. I added a pine garland to the stones and some very sparkly details with my glitter gel pens. This trio I colored, I think, this summer, so it's quite recent. I combined here Prismacolors, polychromos and even color softs for the background. I love it and it definitely matched my summer mood. Oh, this one is one of my favorites, mostly because I love color combo of the violet on the background and these very pale yellow colors. But of course I also love all parrots and other cute birds. remember how I struggled here by doing this rainbow and waterfall. Maybe it's not perfect, but I still think that I learned a lot while I was coloring it. On these mermaids, I first tried to do unusual skin tones like green and blue. I think that I colored it with color softs. Definitely think when I look at this violet colors that it's from color soft set. This one is mostly watercolors with addition for the mermaids of Prismacolors. I always love this fat mermaid. She is so peacefully reading. Here I combined Inktense watercolors and Prismas. And it's my failed attempt to use oil-based pastel for the background and then to use solvent to it. It failed completely. And that's all for the mermaid book. I purchased gnomes before the last Christmas, I believe, and I immediately colored this winter picture. I still like it, and I plan to do several winter pictures this December also. And during this summer I did my second page from this book. For the background I used Prismacolors, then for the red violet trees I used color softs, and then I failed completely to color shops. I used too many colors. Picture is so motley that my lady gnome is completely lost on the background. I thank you for spending this half an hour in my company, and I hope to see you in the next part. As I said, I have a very big coloring book collection, so this series will be quite long.